Therefore, recalling once more Ninoy's words, and I quote, "I will never be able to forgive myself if I will have to live with the knowledge that I could have done something and I did not do anything." End of quote. And with the thought that I can make even just a modest contribution to the restoration of a sense of hope to our troubled land, and without wishing to pass judgment on the qualities of other opposition candidates, I hereby affirm my candidacy and confirm my willingness, if elected, to serve our people as President of the Republic of the Philippines. I have also signed an agreement with the convener group that we are for the removal of the bases and that we will not allow any other foreign bases to be established on our soil. All right, the first question about my lack of experience. That is true, and I think we're also all aware that experience is not the answer to our problems. Here we have a man who has too much experience, and look at what has happened to our country.
It's 11:15, the 11th hour.
And last minute though.
Yeah. This is
brought about the change of mind.
after consulting all sectors. The other day, Mrs. Cory Aquino told me that she has reconsidered her decision and is now willing to run under the banner of the Unido. In the interest of unity, which is the key to victory, victory which will dismantle the dictatorship and bring about the establishment of a truly just and democratic order, I wish to announce that late last night, I withdrew my certificate of candidacy for the presidency, and that together with Cory here, we filed also last night our certificates of candidacy both under the banner of Unido, she for the presidency of the Republic and I for the vice presidency of the Republic.
While the interests of partisan political groups are obviously important, the interests of the Filipino people are far more crucial, particularly at this time of grave national crisis. It was in this spirit that Doy Laurel and I continued discussions and finally forged the agreement to offer the Filipino people the best possible opportunity to end the Marcos dictatorship. Yesterday, when Doy and I talked with each other in the presence of Doy's brothers, my mother-in-law and my brother, the only agreement we made was that I run under Unido, and the rest was just a matter to be talked about when we finally achieve victory.
Mabuhay si Cory at si Doy! Mabuhay ang bayan! Mabuhay ang kalayaan at katarungan! Mabuhay!
With the elections less than a month away, both campaigns are hotting up. Cory Aquino is guaranteed a warm reception in this remote northern region, where there's now considerable anti-Marcos feeling, ever since he gave the go-ahead for a new dam to be built near the community's ancient burial grounds. The move has led to many local tribes joining forces with communist rebels, and the people of this once peaceful region have become discontented. Mrs. Aquino, however, was given a traditional welcome, including a ride in a horse-drawn cart, accompanied by local dancers and drummers. At the rally, crowds were anxiously waiting for the speeches. Aquino's running mate, Salvador Laurel, addressed the crowd first, and the mood was confident.
What can I offer you when I become President of the Philippines? What I can promise you is that I will be consulting with you, the people.
In theory, the area a few miles north of Manila is solidly behind President Marcos in his bid to stay in power in the Philippines. But the thousands who turned out to welcome his chief rival made that a little hard to believe. Mrs. Cory Aquino used the occasion to bring up an old spectre, that the election due for February the 7th might suddenly be cancelled. With Marcos, anything is possible, she told her audience, and went on to warn that the president might bring back martial law. Marcos himself has dismissed the allegations and has been delighting his...
Crusade for truth, justice, and freedom. What can I offer you? I offer you my sincerity, and I pledge to do my very best to bring about the necessary changes we have all been fighting for. Ay ito, karanasan lamang ba ang kailangan upang bumuti ang kabuhayan ng sambayanan? Hindi karanasan, hindi kaalaman. Ang nais ito ay mag-organize ng mga tinatawag na cycling tour. Mga nais magpakasal sa Malacanang.
Mrs. Aquino chose a speech at a girls' private school to reject the claims.
I fully realize that insurgency is not a simple problem. It is a combination of several problems involving the mind, the heart, and the stomach of man. It is an economic problem, a social problem, a military problem, and an ideological problem. I am not a communist. I have never been a communist, and I will never be a communist.
But while the candidates...
The program is simple. I propose to dismantle the dictatorial edifice Mr. Marcos has built. In its place, I propose to build for our people a genuine democracy. The choice in this election is between a dictatorship founded on deceit, the Marcos program, and democracy founded on the freely expressed will of the people, the Cory Aquino program. Mr. Marcos is determined to remain permanent dictator, come hell or high water. I am determined to stop him. Last January 6th, I showed you that he pushed aside the old economic oligarchs and enthroned in their place his rapacious herd of crony oligarchy. He also dismantled the old political oligarchies, but only to crown himself king, emperor, military governor, and even occasional pope. The Constitution now allows Mr. Marcos to pack the Supreme Court with his classmates and fraternity brothers. The will of Mr. Marcos has become jurisprudence. The Constitution allows him to pack the Commission on Elections with people whose mathematical wizardry will ensure his electoral victories. The evil formula, then, of the present system is simple. 1. Concentrate all significant powers in the executive. 2. Abuse and misuse that concentrated power for personal benefit. And 3. Protect the holder of power against any complaint or prosecution. This formula, these past 20 years, under the expert guidance of Mr. Marcos, has worked marvelously well for himself. It has worked marvelously well for his coterie of sycophants and relatives, but it has devastated the nation and degraded our people. The program I propose to you, therefore, is simple and straightforward. 1. We must break up the concentration of power in the hands of the executive. 2. We must set up effective safeguards against abuse and misuse of power. 3. We must make the executive and all who follow his directives answerable for their misdeeds. First, Amendment 6 is a powerful instrument of oppression. It has spawned legal monsters. I enumerate 3 grossly offensive decrees that need immediate attention. PD numbers 1877 and 1877A, which create the gross aberration that is the PDA, and PD number 1836, which authorizes the detention of persons at the sole discretion of the President. These monsters must be crushed. I shall formulate cabinet bills for their repeal. I shall present these bills Second, I shall lift proclamation numbers 2045 and 2045A, and thereby lift the suspension of the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus nationwide. I shall liberate the mass media from control and thereby strengthen the voice of the people as an instrument for keeping government honest and honorable. Fourth, the new leadership will exert all efforts to eliminate the social cancer of graft and corruption and establish an honest, efficient, and just system of public service. Fifth, in the interest of national reconciliation and solidarity, general amnesty will be granted to all political detainees and all political offenders who forswear the use of violence against the state. As a first step, therefore, in the restoration of the morale of the military, I shall, upon assumption of office, set in motion a process of immediately retiring all overstaying generals. First, I concede that I cannot match Mr. Marcos when it comes to experience. I admit that I have no experience in cheating, stealing, lying, or Allow me to repeat that sentence. I admit that I have no experience in cheating, stealing, lying, or assassinating political opponents.
Sir Laurel po. Gandang umaga po sa inyo lahat. Nandito po si Sir Laurel. Lapitan po ninyo, kamayan po ninyo.
Ganda niya, ano?
Isang salita lamang, ituloy natin ang laban ni Ninoy, ang laban ni Ninoy, laban ni Cory, ang laban ni Cory, laban natin lahat. Na mapabalik sa atin ang tunay na demokrasya, justisya.
Noong rally sa Makati,
What is it that has brought this nation to its knees? Who has brought us to this posture of humiliation and ridicule before the world? Who has desecrated the pearl of the Orient and besmirched the brilliance of its luster? The answer is inescapably clear. Mr. Marcos.
Huwag ninyong isaalang-alang.
It's just kasi available.
Tayo muna!
has already gone down in Filipino history as the Yellow Revolution after the opposition's campaign color. Cory Aquino has lost the election, but she has won the moral victory, and she has won the hearts of more people than took part in today's rally. Those that did take part made this the largest rally seen in the whole of the election, larger by thousands than anything President Marcos was able to muster. From here, the opposition, smiling in defeat, adopts a new tactic, civil disobedience, a one-day national strike, delayed payment of taxes, boycott of all institutions controlled by the president, including the state press.
Although unarmed, I feel like the young boy David, prepared to face a giant Goliath. And if Goliath refuses to yield, we shall keep dipping into our arsenal of nonviolence and escalate our nonviolent struggle.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me your oath of office. I, Corazon Aquino, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully and conscientiously fulfill my duties as President of the Philippines, preserve and defend its fundamental law, execute its just laws, do justice to every man, and consecrate myself to the service of the nation. So help me God.
Salvador Laurel are taking power in the name and by the will of the Filipino people. I ask our people not to relax, but to be even more vigilant in this our moment of triumph. The motherland cannot thank them enough. Yet we all realize that more is required of each and every one of us to redeem our promises and proceed to create a truly just society for our people. This is just the beginning. The same spirit which animated our campaign and has led to our triumph will once more prevail by the power of the people and by the grace of God.
President Aquino's first proclamation included the reappointment of Enrile and the promotion of Fidel Ramos.
Lieutenant General Fidel V. Ramos to full general and
Iwan man kay hayang lumipas. Himag na sa makaalpas. Pilipinas kong minumutya, ugat ng luha at galita. Aking adhika, makita ka sa kalaya. This is the end of our ceremony. We'd like to thank you all for being with us this morning.
What I want to try to do is stay with Ramos and then relay, follow him out, and get him going up.
Go in.
All right?